Welcome to Between the Shelves, the premier Save a Library podcast. I am your host, Alex, and this is part 3 of our Best of 2025 episodes. This week, I'm joined by Rachel from Patron Services.
Hi.
Marianne, Head of Teen Services.
Hi.
And joining us for the first time ever, Katie from Children's.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, welcome. I'm so glad to get a new voice on the podcast.
I'm excited to be here for your first podcast with us.
It's a good crew, So this is a good episode to start with because we're just talking about our favorite things of the year. So yeah, well let's jump right into it. It's a library podcast, so let's start with books. I think I have more things to talk about than everyone else, right? I have 4. So I'll start off. So the book I want to talk about is called Everything Must Go, The Stories We Tell Ourselves About the End of the World by Dorian Lynskey. It's a nonfiction book. I think I mentioned this, Marianne, on our books we were looking forward to, and it ended up being my favorite book of the year.
Oh, wow.
So this book is like a cultural history of our understanding of the apocalypse and like how we imagine it and how culture shapes how we vision the apocalypse. So it's broken up into sections. The first section deals with like early history and like biblical interpretations of the apocalypse. Then it goes into a section on like the idea of being like the last person alive and how that's kind of like a uniquely American interpretation of the apocalypse. Like we all feel like we're like, we're survivalists or whatever. And it usually has like a tint of like civilization is like this was so corrupt that it collapsed. So I don't know, maybe that has something to do with like our revolutionary beginnings or something, or I don't know, our distrust of the government. But anyways, it was really interesting. And then it kind of goes into like different types of apocalypses and how they're kind of go through almost waves. It's almost cyclical, but they're really tied into like the events that were happening in that time in history. So like asteroid impacts was a big one. The bomb takes up probably a bulk of this, like nuclear weapons. Obviously, it's shaped by like our Cold War fears and everything post World War II up through, I guess Vietnam era, and then we started having other fears. Machines, so like computers, robots, AI. That's another big one. That's like a very current apocalyptic fear that people have. Collapse of societies, whether it's man-made or catastrophes. So this was a big one. He talks about what was was it Mount Vesuvius? It was like the huge eruption that blacked out the skies for like an entire year. And he writes about all the different sort of fiction that came out of that and how everything was gloomy and dreadful and everything. And then the last one is pandemics, which was very relevant to recent history. So that one kind of talks about plagues, which, is very familiar to us, and also kind of talks a little bit about zombies in literature and film too. So yeah, it's a really interesting book. Dorian Lynskey is a very entertaining writer. So if you were thinking that this is kind of like a dry history, it's really not. Like he was exhaustive in his research of pop culture references. I mean, it references everything from Night of the Living Dead to Frankenstein and literature and the Bible, and he just pulls all these references out, and it's really told in a very interesting way. Some just interesting kind of highlights that stuck out to me were this idea of like the presentism fallacy he talks about, which is this idea that we all believe that we're living in the most important time in history, and that kind of leads to like the idea that like we are going to experience the apocalypse. Like we're in like the most important time in history when things are coming to a head. And he cites that like over 20% of people believe this fact, like they believe they're going to see the end of times.
That's a high number.
It's a disturbingly high number. I don't think he went into like what country. Maybe that's America. I'm not sure, but it's disturbingly high. Another interesting fact was before World War I, 2/3 of disaster stories were about the natural world, so asteroids, earthquakes, that sort of thing. And then after World War I, it totally flipped to man-made disasters, which was really interesting. Yeah, I love this sort of stuff. I guess his kind of thesis, if I could boil down this 500-page book to like one sentence, it's sort of like we all have this like natural fear of death and the unknown, and we're kind of just all plugging in these apocalypse stories to try to make sense of this world around us and to kind of illustrate our fears better. And it's not all doom and gloom. Like, he does have stories of like how apocalypse stories can kind of unite people, where like we're all kind of in this together. And a lot of apocalypse stories or cataclysm stories, things like this, the author, their motive for writing these stories are to kind of like warn society about a problem that's going on. So it's just a fascinating story that tackles this from every conceivable angle and more. And I just found it very enriching.
I'm glad that that's one of your favorite books, or the favorite.
I think it's my number one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that is on my list. In the next couple of weeks, I have to read that book. And I thought it was a short story collection, but this sounds actually right up my alley too.
Well, each section is kind of its own little micro history, so you can kind of read it in chunks. It doesn't feel like a weighty, like I read like the Mark Twain biography this year that was like
that's huge.
1,200 pages. That was like, I was ready to tear my eyes out by the end of it. And I'm like, how much more could they possibly say about this guy? But this one was like, it was like reading like 6 short books in one. Okay. Yeah. So it's very readable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope you like it.
Yeah.
Check it out. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
All eyes on you.
Yeah. All right. So one of my favorite books that I read this year is called The Sunflower Boys by Sam Wachman, if I'm saying that right. And, if you know anything about me, it is that I like a nice, heavy, depressing book. So that's what this is, another heavy, depressing literary fiction book. So it's coming of age story, and we have our protagonist, I can't remember his name. It takes place in Ukraine, current day Ukraine. The lead character is Artem. So it starts when he's about 12, and he and his best friend, Victor, are in Ukraine. They're just doing their normal kid stuff. There's, something between the two of them, maybe some romantic feelings. They don't really know yet because they're 12. And then one day they are just hanging out, and all of a sudden the explosions start. So it takes place, in the beginning of the war in Ukraine. So now everything is torn apart for them. They are with their respective families. They're trying to find places to hide. A lot of things happen that are unimaginable to us living over here. But, the Russians are invading their home. They are taking hostages. These kids are trying to leave. We lose track of Victor, and we stay with Artem and his little brother Yuri and their mother and grandfather. And now their father is over in America trying to start a better life. He wants his family to eventually come out there. So now he rushes to Eastern Europe to try and reunite with his family. But now they all lose track of each other because, you can't charge your cell phone. They are on the move constantly to try and they're trying to go north. So a lot of stuff happens. It's really, really sad. It's a lot of death, a lot of destruction. But Artem, our main character, he, really takes a heroic lead. And he protects his family and his brother, and they have a sweet relationship. And eventually they are reunited with their dad. And now the dad comes into the Ukraine to get them, and he can't take them back out because of a lot of things that happen. Like, they need certain certificates to be united together and to prove that those are his children. And of course, nobody has those things because everybody left in a rush, right? So you didn't grab your birth certificate on the way out. So it's all about that. And, the two boys are both looking for each other. And so will they get reunited? You know, that's kind of like the goal of the whole book. It's a very harrowing tale, but it's also very beautiful. It's just written so beautifully. It's about love, identity, lost innocence, survival during a devastating war, and a little bit in there it's a like exploration of young queer love, the Ukrainian spirit, and a family struggle to survive. It was very good. I read it in like 2 days. It's not a big book, but the material is very heavy. It's very detailed too, some parts, so it's, you know, some trigger warnings in there. And it really does open your eyes to what's happening in the world, because, you know, we are seeing a lot on social media. We're reading a lot about what's going on in the world, but then like to like be in it through the eyes of a young boy is like a whole different animal right there. So the Sunflower Boys.
As you're reading the description, I'm like in my head checking off like, oh, this is totally Marianne's book of the year. Right? It's like coming of age story, check. Mm-hmm. Young gay love story, check. I'm in. Dark setting, check. Like, of course, this is your book of the year. This is right up your alley.
Recommendation, yeah.
It's not a teen book though. It's
no, it's
adult
not.
Fiction.
It's very adult. But okay. Like, yeah, when I started reading it, I was like, is this like kind of teenish just because of the two young boys? But the material is way too heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely not for teens.
Yeah, I haven't heard of this one, surprisingly, but...
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like under the radar. It's not like... I haven't really seen it out there, but, you know, it called to me in Library Journal. So.
Yeah, I think your favorite book last year was Demon Copperhead, right?
That was the year before. I think that was
last year? Was it Wally Lamb's?
It might have been Wally Lamb's. It might have been Wally Lamb's. Yeah.
You have a good track record,
one.
So...
Yeah.
Nice. We take your recommendation with... more than a grain of salt.
Thank you.
2 grains of salt.
Yes. All right, Rachel, you ready to go?
Yes. So my book is The Briar Club by Kate Quinn, and it came out last year. It's a historical novel. It is about a group of women who live in a boarding house in the 1950s in Washington, D.C. And at the time, boarding houses were kind of the last option for women. If they couldn't, buy a house by themselves, they couldn't get an apartment. A boarding house, like the last stop, basically. So the women are very different, all different ages, all different backgrounds, but because it takes place in the 1950s, there's all that Cold War in the backgrounds and McCarthyism, and that links to what they're going through. So the novel opens with a murder where 2 bodies are found in the house, and the detectives are trying to figure out, who did it. And the house kind of becomes sentient, which I realize I really like when objects start have feelings or emotions, So the house is kind of chuckling at the detectives, because they're dismissing the women, being like, oh, they're hysterical. They couldn't do it. I pin it on that man over there. And the house is the curtains are ruffling because she's laughing. She's like, But there's a few different women, and it switches back and forth between each woman and then the present day. And it goes through a lot of different themes. So there's one woman who is older. She's in her 70s. And she fled from Poland, and she's elderly, and she really can't afford much anymore, and she has to go back to work. There's another woman who she falls in love with a gangster, and she has to decide if she wants to continue life with him or if she wants to branch out and be on her own. There's a woman who's going through very severe postpartum depression, and her husband's away being a doctor in the Korean War. And she doesn't want to have another child, but at the time, that's what women were doing, were having babies. And it was clear she had really bad postpartum depression, but she, they didn't know that at the time. But she forms this friendship with all these women, and they all support each other. And they start talking to each other because the first character we meet, Grace March, woman who shows up out of nowhere, and she moves into this boarding house, and she's very happy with it. It's really tiny, and she starts making the place a home. So she starts painting floral vines on the walls and the doors and leaving fresh flowers in the hallway and just talking to everybody. And before that, everyone was so separate and they didn't really converse. And she started having dinners every Thursday night. Someone different would cook, and they would pile into their small rooms and just talk. And that's how they became a family, There's a really good twist at the end. I don't want to spoil it, but it does involve the Cold War. And
I was waiting for one of these characters to turn up to be like a communist or something.
Well, maybe former communist, not current communist, but it's in there.
Yeah.
It's in there. I don't know, just really good. I listened to it on audiobook, and audiobooks are very new to me. I never listened to audiobooks before, but I started on my commute back and forth because I have like half an hour each way. Like it sucks me in. And the narrator for this was amazing. And she did all the different voices, all the different characters. It was so good. I can't stress enough like how great it was. And I would just alternate between the audiobook and the actual book. But yeah.
Yeah, a good audiobook narrator can make even a bad book good if they like really sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds very interesting.
Highly recommended.
It seems like it's got a little bit of everything, like magical realism, historical fiction, murder.
There's even there was an all-female baseball team that I didn't know about back in the day. And it started in the 30s, and then it disbanded in 1954, I think.
Yeah, League of Their Own.
Yeah, did you never see A League of
I
Their
love
Own
that.
when
That's
you were
like one of
younger?
my favorite movies ever.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've never seen it?
Oh my, have you heard of it?
Madonna's in it, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And Rosie O'Donnell. But
Okay,
yeah,
I'm aware.
Okay. Yeah, it is a good movie.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Anyway, did you know there was a baseball team back in the day?
I think I've heard something about that.
But one of the characters is on the team, and all the men came back to work after the war, and they were back on the sports fields, and she kind of got kicked out and had nowhere to go. And she's a gym teacher, but she's kind of like floundering, and she's also a lesbian. That was also extremely hush hush. You do not talk about that. So just interesting seeing their perspectives of like what they were living, back in the 1950s, and how it all came together, and how everyone is more similar to another than you would think.
Yeah, it's like bonding over their outcast status.
Yeah.
Sounds really interesting. The Briar House?
The Briar Club.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Katie.
Oh, I'm up.
You're up.
Okay, so I brought the book with me. I probably shouldn't have. I'm not gonna.
We don't have the cameras set up
Yeah.
just yet. We're working on it.
But I kind of did it for you guys because the illustrations were kind of what drew me to it the most. So I'm a children's librarian, so I chose a children's book. And I have 2 young kids, so that's pretty much all I'm reading right now. So the book I chose it's Papilio, which means butterfly in Latin. So this one I really liked because it's 3 children's illustrator authors that are friends, and they decided what would it be like if we collaborated on one book together. So there's a little description in the back. So it's Ben Clanton, who did Narwhal and Jelly. I don't know if you guys know these ones, but they're like kind of popular. Corey Tabor and Andy Chou Musser. So they're all popular on their own, but they did the book together, and they each did a stage of the butterfly cycle, and they each wrote the words and did the illustrations for each section. But somehow it seems like it was created by one person. It's like really, really cool. So yeah, like very simple. Starts with, your little caterpillar. He tucks away, and then he becomes the really cute butterfly. So that's what I chose. I thought it was just a very cute book. It got good reviews.
I love the illustrations on the cover.
I mean, if you guys want to take a look, that's why I thought it's just so cute.
Book or nonfiction?
It's a picture book. So you can definitely tell that it was drawn by different people, but as you go, you kind of like forget as the book goes on. You're like, oh yeah, they're a little bit different, but
cool idea for a cool concept for the book. Yeah, you're right. It's
love that.
They must have been in conversation with one another, but it does change from like a more like comic book style almost to like watercolors backgrounds for like the butterfly section, which I'm flipping through now. Yeah,
right, but it's somehow kind of all is
but
very
it works.
cohesive.
Yeah, it works. Yeah, like the caterpillar section seems very like children's booky to me, and then it gets more, I don't know, illustratory as it goes on.
And if you read the little description in the back about when they were thinking of this idea, I think they were going around a zoo together, and they're like, let's do something together. And they said that they talked about all different ideas, and they ultimately decided on butterflies.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
It's pretty funny. So they all hang out together and
Yeah.
go to zoos together.
yeah.
It's so cute.
I love that.
Yeah, this looks awesome. I want to check this one out for sure. I got some little ones myself that might like this.
Yeah, I just thought it was like a very interesting idea.
So just for the listeners, it's Papilio, Papilio?
I Googled it to see how they said Papilio. Papilio.
We got a Caldecott Honor and Award winner here. Yeah. Very cool. And our children's department has it, so if you want to check it out, come down to the children's department. A signed copy, even.
We do.
Nice.
We're fancy.
Don't steal it. Please don't steal it. Very cool. I think that's our first children's book recommendation ever.
Really?
Wow.
I think so.
Katie, it's a good thing you're here.
Yeah. For all of our children's listeners out there.
For all the children themselves.
They
that are
love our
listening.
Star Wars episodes. All right. You said you have a second book, Marianne. Okay, do you want to do that, and then we'll move on to
Am I
another?
the only one with a second book?
Yes.
Oh, wow, okay.
I swapped one of my books for something else this episode. I usually have two, but I got a little self-conscious about my other one. I'm not going to talk about it.
Well, I'm going to ask you after then
Okay,
what it is, because now
I'll tell
I'm
you.
curious.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so for my second book, I chose something not as heavy and depressing, which is unlike me to do. But this one's called Life and Death and Giants by Rindo. You know this one? Mm-hmm. Okay. Have you read it?
I haven't read it, but my wife, my mother-in-law, I think is currently reading it. It's, yeah, and I'm up in the adult floor. I'm seeing it checked out all the time.
Yeah. So it's really good. I listened to it as I read along. And it is about a baby is born one day, and he's born to a mother who is alone. She has one son, and that's it. It takes place in the, you know what, I forgot if it starts in like the 60s or 70s maybe. So then the older son runs to get help when his mom goes into labor, and the only person that's around to help him is the small town's veterinarian. So he delivers the baby, and the baby is 18 pounds.
Oh my God.
And so the mother dies during childbirth. This all happens right away, so...
Get that out of the way.
Yeah. So mom dies.
I'm ready to laugh.
It's like regular Disney story right here. So
It really is.
so he is raised by his older brother, whose name is Jasper, and he names the baby Gabriel or Gabe. And he stays with the brother for many years, and then tragedy strikes again. And the boy, Jasper, is no longer in the story, and somebody has to care for the baby, who might be like, a young 5-year-old at this point. And so he is taken in by his maternal grandparents that really didn't want anything to do with him because their daughter had this baby out of wedlock. And it's an Amish family. I should have talked about that earlier. It takes place in Wisconsin. I didn't know there was a really large Amish population in Wisconsin. They're very strict Amish people. So when the daughter got pregnant, they wanted nothing to do with her. She had the baby on her own. Jasper got pregnant again. Still, they want nothing to do with her. But now that nobody is in the picture anymore, and the child is like 5 years old, he needs to go live with somebody. So the maternal grandparents do take him on. But because of the title, it's about giants, this child grows into be like a giant. So he's growing really, really large all through his youth. He gets too big for the house he's living in. So the grandparents ask the veterinarian who delivered him to take him on because they cannot any longer. He's outgrowing everything. He's too big for the house. So the veterinarian takes him on. They have a special bond together. There's some magical realism in there where, like, when Gabe was born, all the animals like kind of united and like spoke at the same time and made sounds, and so you're led to believe that Gabe holds magic over animals. So he starts shadowing the veterinarian on all the different house calls for all the animals, but he grows big and bigger, and he's trying to accommodate him in the house, and he ends up going on like the local football team. And of course, he's like the number one player. He is now of college age, and he's getting scouted. Well, while he's in high school, he's getting scouted by colleges. So he ends up going away to college on this football scholarship. He's like 8 feet by this point. And he gets his first girlfriend while he's at college, and he's like living a normal life except for his size. So then he has an injury, and it's a very bad injury. And he ends up going back home to the Irish farm, and he's taken in by the veterinarian again, and kind of like nurses him back. And then he takes like. He's taken on by an organization in Europe that they want him to be like a wrestler, right? Because now we're moving up. He's aging. We're getting close to like the when wrestling was really big in the 80s. So he gets scouted out by like European wrestling something or other, and he goes to travel with them, and he becomes like world famous. And through all this, he kind of ends up developing a nice relationship with his maternal grandmother. And it's just about how, he lives his life, the people around him, about his relationships with everyone. I thought it was like just very moving storytelling. The main characters were all very rich, well thought out. They talked a lot about Amish beliefs versus what they call like English beliefs, like what, the non-Amish do and the differences. It had this Benjamin Button / Big Fish vibe to it that I really liked. And some of the themes, community, family, friendship. It was a good book. I think it would attract a broad range of readers. And it was just like, it was a book that kept moving. It was never stagnant. Like, it just kept like, I was into it right away. I read it in like a day or two because it immediately starts with like the birth. It was a really well put together book. And so I recommend it for really any kind of reader would like it. A little fantasy, a little, magical, a little realistic, history. Yeah,
the Big Fish and Curious Case of Benjamin Button parallels. Yeah. It definitely sounds a lot like
immediate
in
vibe.
Conversation with those, like which immediate. I love both of those movies.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. So
sounds interesting.
Yeah, it was really good. Life, Death, and Giants. Get it at your local library.
All right, so we're done with books, right? Yeah. That's all the books? Okay. Should we go on to shows next? I think we all have a show, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'll go next. So this show is absolutely my favorite show of the year. It even passed Alien Earth, if you can believe that. If you know anything about me, Katie, you probably aren't aware yet somehow, but I'm obsessed with Alien.
Okay.
And this beat Alien Earth to be my favorite show. I wonder if anyone here has seen it. Adolescence on Netflix.
Oh, I had to stop watching it.
No, I can watch that.
Yeah.
It's rough. Yeah. Especially if you are a parent of little kids. It's the harrowing and heartbreaking story of the Miller family whose lives are upturned when the police raid their house one morning and arrest their 13-year-old son, Jamie, on suspicion of murdering his classmate, a young girl. So, boy, I don't even know where to start. It won 8 Emmys, so if you're a fan of prestige television, you should probably watch it. It won for Best Limited Series, Best Lead Actor. Stephen Graham plays the father. He's amazing in this. Best Supporting Actor, the son Jamie, Owen Cooper is his name, and he's the youngest winner ever. It won Supporting Actress, it won Directing, it won Writing, all the major awards. It's fantastic. It's a 4-episode limited series. Each episode's an hour long, and each episode tells the story from a different perspective. So the first episode follows Jamie. The second episode follows the lead detective. The third episode, I think, follows his mother, or I forget. And then the last episode follows the father. And each one is a jump in time, too. So the first episode follows like the moment Jamie's arrested, the day he's arrested. Then it jumps ahead a couple of days to the lead investigator going through the school and talking with the principal and everything. And then so on and so forth. And I think the last episode is maybe even weeks or months later, where it's sort of like the family grappling with the situation after, I'm not going to spoil anything, but after everything's kind of settled down a little bit. It is, like I said, very heavy. It's very dark, but it's I think, in a very important story because it grapples with themes of like toxic male relationships, internet culture, bullying. It gets into a lot of the stuff that I haven't seen addressed well in movies or TV, really, at least like modern era stuff that kids have to deal with. But it also, shows the parent side of it too. Like it shows, what families who have to deal with someone in their family who is actually like taken out and has to go through the criminal system, and the grief and shame that goes along with that, and having to readjust the family structure, and having to deal with, society blaming the parents for the way their son turned out. And it deals with a lot of heavy subjects, but I think they do it respectfully. The acting is phenomenal. I mean, these are the best performances I've seen all year, and I've seen a lot of movies this year, and this goes toe to toe with the best. The other thing I should mention is each episode is a one shot, so it's a 1 hour long scene, unbroken.
Wow.
So the camera is following characters, weaving in and out of rooms. Every episode is like an elaborate set, especially like the second episode that goes into the school. I mean, the camera crew must have gone through every room of the school. I mean, it's constantly moving, going in between rooms, in and out, outside at one point. There's hundreds of extras that I can't believe. It must have been such a production to get done, because if like one extra in the background messes up, like, take it over again, everyone back to one. It's amazing. And even some episodes, like, the camera will get into a car and they'll drive to another location and they just don't stop filming. Like, it's just like the cameraman and the actor in the car, and then they get out and then there's another camera crew there to pick up and keep going. It's really, really amazing. So, like, all credit to the director, Philip Barantini, and the cinematographer, Matthew Lewis. Like, they absolutely are deserving of their Emmys. It's amazing. But it's not like a cheap trick. Like, I know a lot of you see it in some movies, like where they kind of fake it, like that 1917 movie that came out recently, where they make it seem like it's a one shot, but really they're just doing clever editing. Mm-hmm. This is not. It's all a one shot, and it's not like a distracting spectacle or a gimmick. Like, it just pulls the viewer in. Like, you just can't look away. Like, I watched the episode. I didn't look at my phone for a millisecond. I was just glued to the TV, which is more than I can say about most things these days. So, I mean, that's like the best glowing review you can give for anything these days, is like, you didn't look at your phone while it was on.
That's very true.
But yeah, Stephen Graham is phenomenal. He also co-wrote it too, the main actor. And I just can't say enough about this show. I think it's like a must watch.
I saw the first episode and it was really good, but I was like, I have a 13-year-old boy and I was like, I can't watch any more of this, because it's just like, it hits very close to home when you have, a kid that age, and just all the possibilities. And yeah, like, are you raising them right? Like, is it the parents' fault?
Right.
That's just like, is it peer pressure, bullying everywhere? It's crazy. But from what I saw, and then I did watch the Emmys when it was the Emmys, right, where they took everything home. Like, they deserved it.
Yeah, I mean, my oldest is 5, so it's not at that age, but you don't have. I mean, you can extrapolate a few years.
Yeah.
But most of the show is not from Jamie's perspective, really. I mean, he does get a lot of screen time, but it really centers more around Stephen Graham, the father, which is maybe why I clicked with it a little bit more. I mean, it's just, you go through every emotion that what you can imagine these parents go through, and I think Stephen Graham does an excellent job. Just the anger, the grief, the shame, the everything. It's a tour de force. But anyways, I won't go on any longer because we want to get this episode done in under an hour. So Adolescence on Netflix. I mean, check it out.
Oh, my turn. Okay.
Oh, I just looked at you in front of me. I hope it's something brighter. We can lift it up a little bit.
It's much brighter, yeah. So it's a YouTube channel that my son watches. My son's almost 13, mm-hmm. and he's always been into animals. That's always been his main thing. And it's called TerraGreen. And it's a guy who does all these, like, safe challenges with, like, bugs and lizards and insects. And he films it. So, like, one of the recent videos was 1,000 flies versus a Venus flytrap. You know, just like silly ones like those, like 15 minutes long. He goes to like the pet store, buys flies or orders stuff online, and then films
you
it.
can buy flies.
You can buy anything. Like this kid, I mean, I don't even know where he gets them from, but he's like, yeah, I had to order like 5 of these cow killer bugs. You know, and they shipped to my house next day. It can be done.
That seems like it's against, like, if I can't bring in, like, food from another country, I shouldn't be able to bring in cow killer bugs.
Well, they're probably American, so it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. But just like a really fun show to watch because you learn about all these different bugs they didn't know were out there. He does lizards also. He did one where he had like a little frog and he put through like an obstacle course, and he was trying to like teach it also to like use an iPhone. So he had an old iPhone and he was trying to teach it to like play a game on the iPhone.
Teaching the bug?
The frog.
Oh, wow.
It was cute, yeah. And I don't know, it's really cute. It's one of those shows like we like to watch a lot.
I know all about going down YouTube rabbit holes with a kid and sometimes the treasures you can find.
But this is a really good one. Like, I endorse this one.
TerraGreen?
TerraGreen is the name.
Is it Terra?
Yes. TerraGreen's a name. And there's 2 other quick ones that we watch is Haminations and Odd Ones Out. So they're both young guys, like in their 20s, and they draw cartoons depicting their life. And it's funny. And it's just like a cartoon you watch for like 20 minutes of like the time, you know, you got into college or the time something happened to your family pet, but it's done with like humor also. And it's just so engaging. And there's nothing like, there's no profanity. There's nothing like not family friendly about it. And it keeps his attention. And it's one of those videos where every time they release a new one, we have to watch it. So Haminations and Odd Ones Out. And I think they're actually friends in real life, which is cool. They go to like conventions and stuff.
Nice.
Just good.
It's cute. Yeah, it's good for like that age range, I think, like the tween age range.
Yeah. Oh boy, I can't wait to deal with that age range. That's going to be interesting.
That's better than a lot of the other stuff they're watching. I'm watching, you know, kids playing video games and all that. So
yeah,
I'm going to try that with my kids.
Yeah, I did have to discount some other stuff that they've seen. Like, I can't talk about that.
Yeah.
But these are good.
Nice. Is it on YouTube Kids or regular YouTube?
Regular YouTube.
Regular YouTube. Okay. TerraGreen and
Hamination and Odd Ones Out. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. We'll check them out. Katie, do you got something for us?
Sure.
We're just all over the place now.
Well, Stranger Things I'm going to mention, but it's the end of the year, so, and we didn't get to see the end yet, so I'm gonna hold back on that one. But
we'll have you on the Stranger Things episode.
Yes.
There's been a lot of interest from the staff on a Stranger Things episode.
Okay, so I think one of my favorites of the year was the show Task on HBO. I don't know if anyone saw it. Not my typical kind of show. I'm not big into like crime and police drama stuff, but this, did anyone see Mayor of Easttown? It came out like a few years back.
Oh, with Kate Winslet?
Yes,
I saw that.
So this is like, I wouldn't say a spin-off, but takes place in the same place. It's supposed to be like outside Philadelphia.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, I don't know, very like raw and gritty type of police drama. And this one centers, the main star is Mark Ruffalo, who I personally love. I think he's just such a good actor. And then it's Mark Ruffalo plays an FBI agent that used to actually be a priest, which is interesting, isn't it? And he is assigned to take on this case of someone that's repeatedly going into drug houses and stealing money. But it seems like they have like an inside scoop of what's going on. So he is trying to find who did this, and there's like one that goes wrong and people die. And so the guy they're looking for is played by Tom Pelphrey. He's been in a few things. I don't know if anyone knows him. So it's just, I don't know, I just thought it was really, really well acted. Very similar to Mayor of Easttown. Mayor of Easttown won a lot of awards back when. And I think everyone wanted there to be a second season of that, but it was like a mini-series, so there wasn't really any way to do that.
Yeah.
Is it the same like writers and everything?
It's all the same. It's all the same. So I think that was their way of like kind of continuing, but not...
Spiritual successor. Yeah.
So there's a lot of actors that I didn't know, but that also had really good
cast.
Yeah, really good performance. There was so Robbie is played by Tom Pelfrey, his character, he's like the one that's on the loose, like they're looking for him. And then he has his niece lives with him, and she's like in her early 20s. And the actress that plays her, Amelia Jones, she was like amazing. I've never seen her before, but she's actually British. You know, you start seeing interviews with them and you're like, oh, like they're, and you're like, oh, of course they're British. I feel like that always happens so often. So she was really, really good in it. I don't know, just all together, I thought it was like a really good show. Like I was very excited. And it, you know, on HBO, they still do a lot of times where it's like every Sunday it comes out. So you had to wait. So I looked forward to it every Sunday.
Oh, it sounds really good.
And I liked how it ended. Like it was kind of in a neat bow for what the storyline is. And then it also kind of goes into Mark Ruffalo, his character. His name's Tom Brandis. His family, there's a whole like side story. He's kind of had a difficult relationship with his one son, and his wife died, but to not to give too much away in case you guys want to watch. I definitely recommend it.
Is it a miniseries, or do you think
it's a miniseries? Yeah. So it's the same thing. So this is it. It's over.
But you can go into it knowing it's limited.
Yeah. I think there's like 8 or 9 episodes, maybe. Yeah. So
Mark Ruffalo's really grown on me. Something that was kind of abrasive with him when he was first starting to get popular.
I've always liked him.
I did too.
You know what really switched it for me was Poor Things that came out a couple of years ago.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
He's so eccentric and wonderful in that movie, and I was like, you know what? I think I really like this guy now.
I think he has a lot of range. Like he's been
absolutely
in rom-coms, and he's been in what? He's Hulk, right? Isn't he Hulk?
Yeah, that's like I knew him as Hulk
really
and like Spotlight, and I'm like, okay, he's like whatever. And then, but Poor Things had me reassessing his whole career.
Okay,
what a performance.
That's for you.
I'll have to check it out. Do you have a show?
I do have a show. So my show is Welcome to Derry. That was on HBO Max this past fall. And it just had its finale this past Sunday.
Oh, wow.
So 8 episodes. They're like 50 minutes each. If you're a Stephen King fan, if you're a fan of horror, if you like anything with clowns, scary clowns, this is the show for you.
Who seeks out clown media?
There's a lot of clown media. So anyway, so this is Pennywise, in case you don't know who the main clown is in it. And so we're going back to like, I think the early 90s when they first adapted the Stephen King book to a miniseries on TV. So it was like
the Tim Curry one?
The Tim Curry one, yes, which I thought was great and held its own for a very long time until the re-release came out with when they redid it with Alex Skarsgård, right? I was confused.
There's
Alex
no Skarsgård. There's so
Bill.
many of them.
it's one of the.
It might be. Might have another brother, yeah. One of the Skarsgårds.
Keep going. We'll look it up.
He plays Pennywise, and he, I thought nobody could top Tim Curry, but he kind of does top Tim Curry. He's really good, and of course, it's the remake was done really well, and it's closer to the book. So I always loved reading Stephen King, and it was one of my favorite books. So the series that just came out ties into the newest one that was released a couple of years ago with one of the Skarsgårds.
Bill.
And it is Bill.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I had the wrong one. So he's Pennywise, and in the I think it was in like the 2010s that one was made. It takes place originally in that book takes place, I think it's in the 80s. I think it is in the 80s. But now I don't remember, so I'm getting confused. But anyway, Pennywise comes around. His cycle is every 27 years. So this miniseries takes place 27 years before the book. The
original book from the 80s.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's, the cycle right before it. So he goes dormant in between. And so some of the characters that were introduced, they are the parents of some of the kids in the other one. So I hadn't watched it in a long time, so I really didn't catch on to all of that. But one of the things I was really excited about was one of the characters, and it takes place at, I think it's an Air Force base. One of the Air Force men, his name is Dick Halloran. And if you know The Shining, he is the man at the hotel who has The Shining. Are you guys familiar with The Shining?
Yes.
Okay. That's one of my favorites.
I was actually going to ask this question before you even mentioned that.
Oh, really?
Because I know they're trying to build out like the Kingiverse.
Yes.
And I was going to say, like, how does this tie in with the Kingiverse? And you just answered it for me.
So he is their connection, because he's got the shine, to kind of tap into Pennywise. A lot of stuff happens. There's, this and Stranger Things, right? Because of all the kids in it. Mm-hmm. This had another set of kids that are such good actors. And I don't want to spoil it, but the first episode is so good, and amazing group of kid actors, and then something happens, and you're just like, oh my god, I really never thought that they would do this in the show. It's very gory. It's pretty it is very gory, and every kid in this show is just so good. I can't even express. And then Pennywise comes around. A lot of kids start disappearing. And our hero kids in this one, want to try and stop Pennywise. And we find out, because they kind of go back in time too, we find out Pennywise is the birth of Pennywise. Like, not as a baby, but like how he kind of originates. And it ends, it's very good. The last 2 episodes are very, very cinematic. The 7th episode is very heartbreaking, and I had like tears in my eyes, and it was really well done. And then the final episode where they really battle it out with Pennywise was also really, really good. So when it ends, there's a lot of Easter eggs into all the different like Stephen King universe, to different books, different movies. But in the very end, our character Dick Hanlon says to another character, because they're kind of like, well, you're going to leave Derry now. Like, what are you up to? Where are you going, Dick? And he says that he's got a job out at a hotel that he's going to try his hand at. And he's going to be, he has a chef's position. And he says, how much trouble could a hotel be? And it kind of ends with that. And it's like,
they're doing the Marvel Universe thing.
And there was an after credits thing too. But I loved it because I love The Shining, and I loved like this. So I was like, oh my god, like I really bought into it. Like, he's going to The Shine, he's going to the hotel. I was so excited. But anyway, so this was like my favorite series this year, and it got really great reviews all around.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
The acting was really good. Yeah, special effects really good. Kids, like I said, I mean, just really. Like they're going to be like the next Stranger Things kids.
I was just going to, we're on the same wavelength. Yeah. I was just going to say it's genius of HBO to release this as Stranger Things is ending, because it's like the people who grew up watching Stranger Things are now, how long Stranger Things been on? A decade?
10 years now.
10 years, yeah.
So we're like more mature and ready for like a more gory, darker version of it. Right. So it's like, here's handoff right to Derry or whatever. Yeah. To Derryville. You get ripped in half by a giant spider monster or whatever he is this time.
Yes, because he takes on the fear of like the kids and everything. He's not a spider in any of these.
I always forget that.
Yeah. So it's also coming back 2 more seasons. So like their plan is 3 seasons, and the next one will take place 27 years before this one took place, and then so it's in the 30s, the 1930s, and then the one before that is 1908, I believe. And I think that's kind of like the start of Pennywise. Yeah. Yeah. So very, smartly done.
Maybe I will watch this.
You should watch it.
My algorithm on my phone just keeps showing me still shots of the show, I haven't Googled it. I've shown no interest in it, but
now that
Google
I just
knows.
talked about it.
Now I'm going to start seeing clowns all day.
It's going to be
on
all
my phone.
clowns, yeah. No, I think you should watch it out.
I know, I will. We should do a Stephen King episode. I got to think of that.
That's a good idea because he's one of my favorite authors.
Yeah, I've read all of his books when I was younger, but it's been
Same.
a long time since I've dipped my toe into that
And I love all that old
sick,
Stephen
twisted
King.
brain of his.
Yeah.
That's a terrible mixed metaphor, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, he is.
All right, I don't know where we are anymore. Who wants to go next? Or is it my turn? I can go.
I got nothing left.
All right, you got nothing left? All right, I'll go then. All right, so the next one I want to talk about is a movie, and normally I save my movie recommendations for the Oscar episodes, but I have a strong suspicion this one was not going to get any Oscar nominations, so I'm going to mention it here because it's one of my personal favorites of the year. It's a documentary, and it's called Secret Mall Apartment. Have any of you?
I've heard of it. I didn't watch it, but I've heard good things.
It's so good, and it holds a special place in my heart because it's set in a place I frequented my entire childhood. Secret Mall Apartment is set in Rhode Island, and it follows 8 RISD students / Providence art scene kind of people who build a secret apartment inside the Providence Place Mall and live in it for 4 years.
I have heard of this. Okay.
So the ringleader of this art collective, his name's Michael Townsend. He's a RISD student, and his apartment on the east side, and it was like a famous art collective block called like Eagle Hill or Eagle Square. I forget exactly what it's called. And that whole block was demolished to make room for the Providence Place Mall, which is this huge revitalization project in Providence that like completely redid the waterfront. They rerouted the river to like go under the mall. It was a huge deal. And you just heard about it for years. Like there was scandals involved. Like our mayor at the time was this like mafia dude who was like, it was just a huge thing in Rhode Island. Anyways, the mall finally released in 1999. It opened up, I was 10 years old. So perfect mall time. So I remember going there all the time, just all the time I was at this place. And the entire documentary is just, I'm watching it. I'm like, oh, I've been there. I know exactly where that is. Oh, I've been there. I know that. Yeah. So it had a really special place in my heart. But so that's kind of like that interesting story about these students who build an apartment in this mall and live in it for 4 years is like a very fun, interesting story that gets you to watch this. But it's really not what the documentary is about. It's more about gentrification, right? So just moving all these poor art students and families out so they can make room for this huge monolith to capitalism. And it's also about art because these are all artists, and a lot of them are like performance artists or artists who their medium is sort of like transitory art. So this guy, Michael Townsend, all of his art installations are it kind of like almost like not graffiti, but they're meant to be like only up for a short amount of time and then either destroyed through weather or taken down by the police or whatever. So he kind of frames this apartment as like an art project, and it's just such a fascinating story. So like it's basically like the apartment, and I know exactly what they were talking about. It's this weird space in the mall that's like not quite in the mall, but not quite in the parking lot. There's this like weird area, and they show it on a map, and I'm like, yes, that is a weird spot.
I know where they're talking about.
And they find it because they were building the mall around their neighborhood, so they were just watching the mall being constructed like right down the street from their house, and they saw like while it was being built, they're like, that's a weird spot right there. Like, what's that going to be? So they climb up it, and they kind of scope it out, and they're like, after the mall's built, they are able to climb the scaffolding and like get in behind the girders and behind the walls and skimming their way up to this like little pocket area. And it's like a 750-foot square negative space basically. And they turn it into an apartment. They bring furniture up there, couches, chairs. They steal electricity from the mall and run it in there. There's like a funny bit where they get this like china cabinet and they like somehow move it up there piece by piece. And they build a cinder block wall to like block off the exposed open wall that security could have seen them. And they build this wall to like box themselves in. And I think there's like a note that it was like 3 tons of cinder blocks that they moved one by one by climbing up girders and like doing. It's insane. It's just insane. But yeah, this guy Michael Townsend's such an interesting character. Like I've seen a lot of interviews with him since, and he's just such a nice guy. Like, he volunteers at like children's hospitals and like teaches them how to do like tape art to like kids with cancer, and he does like art installations for like whenever there's like a national tragedy. He's like there making art. Like, he's just a fascinating guy. Super eccentric, but like really fascinating. He got a lifetime ban after they finally caught him. Not to spoil anything, but the gig was up. But the funny thing is, like, in 2025, when the movie premiered, they premiered it at the Providence Place Mall in the movie theater, and they welcomed him back for the premiere. So that was like a nice, I don't know, it was like a nice way to wrap up the story. It's just funny,
I
yeah.
have a question. Did they have a bathroom?
They used the bathrooms in the mall,
Oh.
and so they got access to the mall after hours.
Oh, wow. So even at night, if they have to go to the bathroom.
But yeah, they said they tried not to do anything at night if they could help it, because it was just, it's suspicious. So they would just do everything during the day. Like, they just washed in the bathrooms and everything, and nobody really questioned them. Yeah, and he even said like he would slip a $20 bill under like one of the manager's doors like every week or something to like pay for like their electricity
that's
they
so
used.
funny.
And like, I don't know, it was just
Did they get caught?
they eventually get caught. I know I'm not really spoiling anything. I mean, they do eventually get caught, and
I mean,
it's
if they make a documentary about it,
yeah,
obviously, right?
yeah. But they get caught because it just, the word gets out basically. Okay. I mean, you can only keep it a secret for so long. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just a really great documentary. We have it on DVD at the library now. It just came out, so you should definitely check it out.
When did that take place? Like, what years?
2003 to 2007 is when they lived in the mall. So I was there when they were in the malls. I probably walked right by this guy.
Little 10-year-old Alex was walking around the mall.
Yep. It's a fun documentary, and it's produced by Jesse Eisenberg of all people.
Oh,
yeah,
that's funny. Yeah,
that's all I got to say. Secret Mall Apartment. It's a hoot.
It's a hoot.
I have one more. I just have a podcast suggestion. Amy Poehler has a new podcast. It came out in March called Good Hang, and I'm really enjoying it. Is anyone else listening to it? Yeah.
Listen to it. Rachel actually recommended it to me when it first came out, and yeah, really funny.
Yeah, I just like her as it is, and I feel like it's fun. I feel like she's branched out lately to other people. Like, I think she just like admires or like but in the beginning, it was a lot of like SNL people, and I felt like you're getting like the Parks and Rec, getting the inside scoop on like things. I don't know. I really like it.
Is it like an interview style?
It's like an interview, yeah. So she has one guest per episode, but before she sits down with them, she interviews someone through like Zoom. Where they kind of like talk about the person she's mainly interviewing like behind their back, but it's like all positive things. So it's like someone that they're friends with, and she'll ask them to give her a question to ask them later on when she interviews them. And it's usually something like silly or like, well, sometimes they're like deep questions. And it's kind of usually a surprise to the main guest who she interviewed beforehand. It's kind of it's
an interesting format.
Yeah. And I don't know, like recently she's had some people, like she had, I don't know, Haley Williams from Paramore. I don't know if
we just talked about her in the last episode. Oh yeah, did you? That was Christina's album of the year.
Okay. So she was on, and I don't think they'd ever met each other, and Amy Poehler just for some reason is like a huge fan, and like Haley Williams was like, "You're a fan of me?" Like, what? Like, so it was just so cute that they both admire each other, and they didn't even really know it, but they arranged to do the podcast, so.
And it's videoed, so you could watch it on YouTube.
Yes, you can.
I usually listen.
I usually listen too.
One of the ones that was one of my favorite ones was the Broadway star Cole.
Escola.
Yes, Escola. The video is so funny to watch. And their rapport together was hilarious. Like
I do follow it,
laughing so much.
Yeah, I do follow it on Instagram, and sometimes I see like clips from it. So I don't usually watch the whole thing, but I'll watch the clips. Yeah. It's funny. Like a lot of the episodes are really funny, depending on who she has on.
Yeah, that's a good recommendation.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've been enjoying it.
My podcast diet is disgusting. I got my podcast Wrapped thing for my podcast app that I
Okay.
listen to, and it's if I told you how many hours I
Really?
listen to podcasts in 2025, you would be disgusted. I don't know if I can fit another podcast in.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I should be cutting them. But I do like is it Amy Schumer or Amy Poehler?
Amy Poehler.
Poehler.
Yeah.
Okay. I like Amy Poehler more than Amy Schumer. I like them both, but
And you would probably like it.
Yeah.
yeah, I like.
Like
Amy,
I said,
her
she's
book was
had,
great too.
I don't know if
Amy
you're a
Poehler's.
Parks and Rec fan too.
Yeah.
She's had a whole bunch of people from there. I think she still has people she needs to get on there.
I listened to Adam Scott's podcast.
Okay. They all, I feel like almost all of them have a podcast.
Yeah, everybody has one.
Yeah. Cool. What's it called again? It's
Good hang.
Good Hang. All right, I'll check it out. All right, anyone else have any more? Okay, I have one more to talk about. It's a video game. I know. Are any of you gamers in here?
No.
I'll do this one quick. I promise. So it's the end of the year, and I'm fortunate enough that I do so many of these best of episodes. I can now give like a personal recommendation out, and it's not my favorite game of the year, but this game really spoke to me this year. It's called Despelote. It's an indie game, and it's set in Quito, Ecuador in 2001, and it tells the story of a young boy named Julian. I think he's 8 in the story, and it's from his perspective. And it's set, I guess, in Ecuador in 2001. The country, like unprecedented, had a qualification for the World Cup, and the whole country was like wrapped up in this story. And it's about this like young boy in Ecuador, and he's a big soccer fan, and he's just constantly daydreaming, like looking out the window of school, like wanting to play soccer with his friends, and just thinking about soccer, playing soccer video games. So it's like super immersed in soccer, and I'm not like a big soccer fan myself, but it's really this game does such a good job at depicting like what it's like to be a child. Like you have very few responsibilities, and it's set in like an earlier time in a different country where we weren't like helicopter parenting. So you're just like go outside and like don't get in trouble basically. And so you spend a lot of time in the game just like walking around the city and just absorbing it. It's all in Spanish too, which is interesting. So most games, when you change like the language settings, it changes like the language that you're listening to. But this one, it only changes the subtitles. So you're absorbing everything in Spanish, and I do not speak Spanish. You're kind of just getting bombarded with all this like ambient noise and conversations that's going on, and you really have you can't keep up with it at all, even if you are reading the subtitles. But that's not really the point of it. Like the creator says it's like the game's about the universal language of soccer, and it's really, really interesting because it does such a good job of representing like how the whole country was wrapped up in this story. And he talks about like the history of Ecuador at the time, and they were going through like an economic crisis and all these like interesting things that were going on, like the political crises, but everybody's just like only cares about like, the next game and the qualifiers, and they're kind of, the whole country's like emotions are ebbing and flowing with the fortunes of this team. So I do have some pictures here I want to quickly show you. Sorry, listeners, but I think it's hard for me to describe what this game looks like.
So I'm going to sound really dumb when I ask this just because I don't play video games, but like, are you the kid in the video game?
Yeah, so you're looking from his eyes, and I don't know if
It
you
looks
can
like
see.
a graphic novel.
It is. So it has this very interesting art style. You can flip through it if you want, where it looks almost like photocopied like through like a copy machine or a fax machine. Like it's this like really like pointillism, almost like low resolution, but photorealistic. Sorry, that's again my kid. But they're like, it's like a two-tone. Boy, I'm doing a really bad job for our listeners. But in any case, it's a very distinct art style. Like, look it up, Despelote. And like the characters are all these like 2D animations that are like black and white. So it has like a very distinct art style, which really grabbed me. The publishers of this game, Panic, they're kind of known for taking big swings, like big risks for their indie games that they publish. And so just if a game comes out by Panic, you kind of already can expect like this one's going to be pretty out there. So as the game progresses, it sort of like jumps in time where you get these like little vignettes from Julian's life, right? Where like one time you'll be like going to your grandmother's birthday party, and one time you'll like be getting in trouble at school or something. So you just get these little snippets from his life. But as the game progresses, the narrator, who you find out is actually Julian older, and what you're actually living in the game are memories of Julian. So, and then the art style starts to make a little bit more sense because it is kind of fuzzy, right? You can't quite make out what's going on. It's because you're living these memories from Julian. And as you start to get even further into the game, you start to get to the point in Julian's life where he has become a video game designer, and he is designing a game where he's telling a story about his own life growing up in Ecuador during the World Cup. And you start to realize, okay, so now this is starting to get very meta. And I don't want to spoil it if you do end up playing this game. Probably not the people in this room, but listeners. It gets pretty far out there with what it does, which I really appreciate that because, I do think video games are an art form. The ones that you see like ads for on TV and stuff are the ones that probably get talked about the most are not trash, right? But I do try to find those games that are pushing the medium and doing new cool things, and this one is definitely one of them, and I really, really liked it. And the game's short too. It's under 2 hours. So if you're someone like me who's, every minute is precious because, you have to sleep and everything else that's going on, your adult responsibilities, I do appreciate a game that you can finish in under 2 hours. And this one was really good. It hit me and it made me nostalgic for a life I didn't live. But it was very emotional, and I thought the storytelling was great. And apparently the creator of this game, it is very autobiographical. A lot of this stuff did happen to him, and the stories he tells about his parents, who are also artists, is true. And yeah, it's just fascinating. It's a really interesting story.
What system did you play it on?
I played it on PC, but it's available on everything.
Do we have it at the library? Did you borrow it from
It doesn't have a physical release. It's a downloadable game.
Downloadable.
Yeah, but I picked it up for under $10, so it's not a huge investment, and I'm sure it'll go on sale next year. So, Despelote. Check it out.
It sounds good. Yeah.
I think that's everything. Is that everything we have for this episode? Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for joining me. Katie, I hope this wasn't too painful, and we'll have you back again another time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Maybe in the Stranger Things episode, which I know Sean has been itching to do. So once that season ends, you'll be hearing from me. Rachel, Marianne, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Yeah.
This might be our last Best of 2025 episode.
Listeners, we're going to finish out the year.
Finishing strong.
Finishing out strong, exactly. It's been a good year for the podcast. So we'll see what 2026 brings us.
See you next year.
All good things.
And listeners, we'll check you next time between the shelves.